Here's Rex Martin.
Hello there and welcome to the Sydney Cricket Ground for the third in the KB International Test Series between Australia and New Zealand. Well, of course, everybody knows it's been a vast disappointment, this match, as we welcome our New Zealand viewers, and I have great sympathy for the rugby league fans in New Zealand for the way this particular New Zealand side has performed. They lost the first test 24-2, the second test 38-7. Australia have not had their line crossed in a legitimate try, although there was the one penalty try in the second test. I'm not suggesting it wasn't deserved, but they didn't actually carry the ball across the line. So the series has been well and truly won, and the New Zealand side have looked very, very marginal. One conjectures about whether there's been trouble in the New Zealand camp. I can't answer that question. I'm not going to get into the area of scandal and that sort of thing, but I know from my own indications of going into the dressing room before the game, the New Zealand side have got no way they've been psyched up for big efforts. There's obviously nobody in the touring party who can lift the team. I think it's worthy of thought about the pressure that the Australian team are under in this game. Not only have they to win, they've got to win well, and they've got to look good winning. That's what you call getting the trifecta. They've really got to put it together, because on this performance, some of these lads will get their kangaroo opportunity. A bad performance by Australian players today could have disastrous effects. I've already commented on the New Zealand side, but let's have a look at the actual team they've picked for today. Chris Jordan is at fullback, and Ian Bell, a replacement, I thought was a second rower, is now in the front row. They're the only two changes from the second test. So then, 32.5 point start. New Zealand have been given on the illegal betting cards. Now, we know that the betting cards are in evidence out here in Sydney, and the fact that they're 32.5 points has been offered indicates just how badly the bookmakers think this New Zealand side is going to do. Right, now the conditions are beautiful. There's plenty of blue sky. We've got a light breeze blowing from the southwest quarter, which will be favouring the neither side, really. It's blowing directly across the field. The Australian team is in great heart. Bobby Fulton, their captain, I was talking to yesterday, and he is very aware of the problem of complacency. So, having said it all, let's have a look now at the teams as they come onto the field. Side coming onto the field right now at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and this is the side: John Doherty, Neville Glover, Mick Cronin, Steve Rogers, Kerry Boosted, Bob Fulton as captain, Tom Rodonicus back at halfback, Ray Price, Rod Reddy, Greg Pearce is vice-captain in the second row, Craig Young, Max Kulich and Rod Morris. The coach is Frank Stanton. Well, this former soccer player, Craig Young, realises a lifetime ambition today in representing his country from the St George Club. A talented ball player and a quick learner, he should have a very bright future. Both he and his father have international caps. Craig's for a league, Dad's for soccer. Now the New Zealand side coming through the gate, and let's run through this side. Very poor crowd here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, but the side is Chris Jordan at fullback, Fred Arcoy, Olsen Filipana, Dennis Williams, Dane O'Hara, John Smith and Ken Sterling. That's the three-quarter line. Mark Graham, Tony Cole, Gary Prome, Lindsay Proctor, Alan Rushton and Ian Bell. The coach is Ron Ackland. Number 13 there, Ian Bell. There he is in the background. Playing his first test, normally a back row forward from the Manukau Club in Auckland. 22 years of age, 14 stone, 5'11", is of Maori blood, supposed to be pretty quick. 1975 was his start in the big time in New Zealand, and be interesting to see how he goes first up in a test match in an unfamiliar prop forward position. The referee in today's game is Mr. Gary Cook. Firmly from the west-southwest. Cronin playing in number 3 kicks off. This New Zealand side have got a lot to do to rehabilitate themselves with the Australian crowd. They've been a big letdown, as evidenced by the massive scores that have been put up against them, and the fact that there's such a dismal crowd here for this game. It wouldn't, I don't think, be in excess of 7,000 people. I may be wrong. Tactics in the opening stanza appear to be to kick. Boosted has it on the full. Little wing three-quarter from Innisfail in Queensland. Kulich at dummy half, playing his first test for Australia, to Greg Pearce. He's the vice-captain of the side and captain of the Cronulla team. Craig Young, his first test too. Rodonicus, Fulton, the run around. On a Reddy, standing wide. Can't unload the pass. Couple of minutes of play, no score. Solid defence there as Rod Morris came hard on the burst. The referee indicating last tackle. Krilich. Fulton puts one up into the air. It'll hold up in the breeze, coming towards the goal line. Sterling's got it. It's a penalty to New Zealand, offside Australia. Steve Rogers penalised for being in front of the kicker. First penalty to New Zealand. One of the most disappointing aspects of this New Zealand side is there is apparently nobody in the party who can psych the players up for a big effort. The dressing rooms are tomb-like in their quietness. There's absolutely no apparent spirit or feeling in the team. One would get the impression that they think they are beaten before they go on the field. There's Sterling, don't take the tap, my boy. You must kick for touch and make some ground. Futile to take the tap even quickly. Always take the ground gain when it's on offer. It's a high towering punt from Dennis Williams, who's been the kicker in the Maori in the New Zealand side. Mark Graham put in a fair performance in the Brisbane test. Cole, who's Gary Prom, Tony Cole, yes, number 9. He's been a trier. There's a frightful pass gone over the sideline. Olsen Filipana has made a couple of breaks for New Zealand in the test series so far, but his passing has been extremely erratic. Very substandard for an international. Australian scrum win. Fulton goes up the blind side into New Zealand's quarter. Krilich, Craig Young taking it up hard. Play only now about 20 metres out from the New Zealand line. And he's had the ball stolen from him. New Zealand in possession. Here's the new fella, Bell. As I mentioned, normally a back row forward, I read in his pen picture. Sterling's pass away to Arcoy, who leaves it behind. Been towed through by Glover. Over the sideline. See, this sort of mistake ratio in New Zealand is not good. Just keep the ball for 6 tackles. They've not done that throughout the tour. There's a scrum win to them. Ken Sterling there, a very experienced halfback, has lost yards in pace from the last time that Australians saw him play, and is now very pedestrian as far as his football ability. Still got a lot of heart and still got plenty of guile, but doesn't have the pace to make those breaks. Fringing the 5 yards in the ruck. We've had just on 5 minutes of play. Still no score in the game. Williams' kick gets it up toward halfway. Fred Arcoy, wing 3/4, who came back into the side. There's the crisscross move with Mark Graham, the lock forward, coming about 3rd man to get it. Gary Prom, then knocked back. Still New Zealand ball. Rushton takes it up. I'm out to one of the big disappointments of the trip, Lindsay Proctor. Big and strong, but playing very ordinary football. Smith there getting a pass from Filipana and making a small inroad up to the Australian quarter. They come. Last tackle. Overhead pass out there to Mark Graham, the lock, and he's stepping and going well. And that takes play in the first little bit of action from New Zealand, 5 metres from the Australian quarter. Very clean heel to Australia, but it's shot right out the back. Rodonicus to feed. Penalty to New Zealand. Striking prematurely against Krilic. Not facing square on, he's indicating to the Australian pack with the first opportunity for points. There are two schools of thought on the way the Australian side has been picked in this series. There are those that agree with the selectors in their efforts to trial as many players as possible for a kangaroo selection. We've had 23 different Australian players in the Test series so far. This up to the third game. It'll be 24 if John Harvey, the reserve, gets a run. I think that's Jordan, the goal kicker. Yes, Chris Jordan, the fullback, just outside the quarter. He's got it high in the air. It's successful. First blood for New Zealand. And they lead by 2 points to 0. And he's got O'Hara for being way in front of the kick there. He was yards offside, about 3 or 4 metres in front of the kicker. And some of the crowd yelling out, give them a go, but I mean the rules are fairly specific. He must be behind the kicker. Well, our camera following the flight of the ball doesn't pick up the offside down on the left-hand side of the field, but believe me, take my word, the left winger Dane O'Hara was many yards offside. Cronin now. You've got some statistics on Cronin's scoring in this series as he goes for that one.
That's his 11th goal in the series. 3 in the first test, 7 in the second test, and that's 1 today.
2-2 then after 13 minutes of play at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Quite overcast now, very high cloud, no suggestion of any rain. In an earlier match today, New South Wales under 18, coached by former first grade coach Paul Broughton, had a close 28-25 win over the Queensland under 18 side. Good defence, Dorohee, as Graham was the tackler. It's offside against New Zealand inside the 5. Gary Cook being very firm about the 5 yards. There have been a number of penalties, 7 in fact to this point in time. New Zealand have 4, Australia have 3. The scrums are 2-1 in Australia's favour. Rogers' kick is a high, towering torpedo punt. Doesn't make a lot of ground, but he's pretty strong up there. Glover. Very difficult man to tackle, this fellow. Got a high knee action. Krilic turns it back inside to Craig Young. Over the halfway line. Krilic, Rodonicus, Price. Proctor the tackler, Ian Bell the tackler. Craig Young on to Pearce. He took a high tackle there. Referee waving New Zealand back onside. Krilic ready to run around with Fulton. The nice pass onto Cronin. He leaves it behind, knocks it. Lindsay Proctor falls on it. There's Jordan, fullback, who doesn't lack courage under the high ball. He's taken them pretty well. Tony Cole. Cole, oh, it's been dropped there by Mark Graham. Ready, Craig Young. Fulton, a long pass out to Cronin, steps, gets it away to Pearce, sold him the dump. New Zealand moving up very, very quickly and negating Australia's attack at the moment. Coy the tackler on Young. Krilich. Dorohey finds himself almost through. Dennis Williams the tackler. Rodonicus. Greg Pearce. Cronin. Pass away to Price. I thought he was tackled without the ball. He was. That's the referee's signal. Williams penalised for tackling Price while not in possession. Cronin getting another attempted goal here. Barry, the New Zealand side really only announced their team shortly before the game.
Yes, they had made an announcement earlier in the week, but they made several changes and they did finalise their side when they arrived at the ground about 1:30 today.
Which doesn't help with the printing of programs, and they help the media in any way to publicise the game. Now this kick is going to be affected by the breeze, which is quite strong, blowing across the flight of it from right to left. Cronin, our most prolific goal scorer, for you people in New Zealand's benefit, he's scored and is the leading point scorer in the Sydney Rugby League, 183 points, 9 tries and 78 goals. That's hit the upright, rebounded into the field of play. The ball's loose. I think New Zealand have come up with it. Rodonicus was there very close to getting to it. So Cronin, 2 attempts, 1 success, the other hit the upright. Cole. Rushton. Proctor again standing much too shallow, not running onto the ball, not using the size of himself. Out to Arcoy. With a little bit of room to move there for the first time. And that's the 6th tackle. The score then, after 18 minutes of play in this first half, a respectable 2-2. And Rushton right down on his back in that scrum there. He's obviously got a loose arm. Still got a loose arm. It's a terrible scrum. The front rows of both sides are down. They'll probably... Rodonicus has it, but he's been trapped straight away, and he's got Sterling for failing to retire. Fulton will call Cronin up, I believe. Yes. Mick Cronin, who showed he was human last week in the Sydney club match against for Parramatta against Eastern Suburbs by having, for him, a poor game. His form has been so immaculate throughout this season that it was nice to see that Mick can have a bad game, Barry.
Yes, he never turns in a bad one usually. He did turn in one against West early in the year too, where he kicked badly. He played reasonably well, but he kicked badly, and West scraped home by a point out at Cumberland. Do you remember that game, Rex?
I do. We televised that one. But he's been the most consistent article in Sydney Rugby League and Australian Rugby League this year. Cronin now from just inside the quarter, right over the black dot. Australia have hit the front after 18.5 minutes, and they lead by 4 points to 2. Dennis Williams, with the breeze virtually at his back, drives that one deep. Glover makes a meal of it. It'll be a knock on. That was badly done. Australia won't be happy. Their captain or coach or the players will be happy with their performance in the opening 20 minutes of this first half. They've been quite ordinary. New Zealand three-quarter line standing very deep at the moment. They've got the ball. Right, it comes to Jordan, the fullback, who's chimed into the three-quarter line. He runs well to within about 15 metres of the Australian line. There's Olsen Filipana running and unable to bust the defence there. He's a tough customer as a rule. Tony Collett, dummy half. Way to Sterling. Out to Dennis Williams. Head down, bulldozing. Lost a little bit of ground. Proctor at dummy half. Rushton. Gary Prom. Out to Arcoy. Neville Glover finishes him off well there, just inside the Australian quarter. That's Smith, the 5'8". Good handoff there, pushes off one of the Australians. And the bomb goes up. Dennis Williams, he gets a bit of a knock after. I don't know whether the referee will have a look at that. It's in the end goal. That could be a try. It is.
Chris Jordan.
There's the fullback, Jordan. A good bounce. And I thought there may have even been a penalty. No, replay doesn't show a great deal of interference. Dorahy interfered with a little bit there. I think the referee could have had a close look at that, but let's not cavil about the try. It was well taken with Jordan. Now the head-on shot. There's Williams getting his foot high in the air. He was knocked over, but it wasn't deliberate. Now Dorahy, watch as he touched before he gets to the ball. I don't think there's any doubt that he received a bit of a serve there, but he's on the ground now as the bounce comes to Jordan. But a good try, and that'll get their tails up. A bit of a team talk going on in the Australian in-goal area at the moment.
First time the line's been crossed, Rex, the Australian line.
Yes, indeed. And he's kicked the goal, so Jordan has scored all the New Zealand points, and they are 7 to Australia's 4. A try and 2 goals. That didn't get in. That's a penalty to Australia. Incorrect feed. You'll find that Sterling is pinged for putting it in the second row.
Dennis Williams has hurt his wrist. He's over there with John Wright looking at it at the moment.
Well, he's been a bright spark in this New Zealand side with only 12 minutes to go. They've got a lead of 7 points to 4. They're playing much more enthusiastically than they've done heretofore. And it's got to be said that the Australian side is playing pretty ordinary football.
Yes. I think that's Tony Cole just changed his jumpers, Rex. He's in number 15 now. He was in number 9.
Yes, Tony Cole now in number 15. As Cronin lines this kick up from 5 metres inside the New Zealand quarter and about 20 metres in from the sideline. Again, the breeze will be from right to left across him. He's kicked 2 from 3. And he kicks that one, so that narrows the gap. New Zealand 7, Australia 6. Williams to kick off for New Zealand. Exactly 10 minutes to half-time. There's a swirling kick. Oh, that'll be a knock-on too. Dorahy will not be terribly impressed with his own opening for this game. Throwing one bad pass that went over the sideline, was interfered with certainly when the try was scored, but he didn't actually get to the ball. And now he's knocked on from a kick-off. Australia in possession. Ready. Weaves his way. A good 20-metre game. Coolidge at dummy half. Craig Young. Much more determined New Zealand performance. They're really showing a little bit more good old-fashioned guts as oh, and a solid Arcoy tackle there. Stops Glover in his tracks. That was good stuff. Head on. Fulton kicking tactically, finds the open spaces. There's Boosted racing through. Jordan gets to it, falls. Can't get away from Boosted, who tackles him inside the New Zealand quarter. Still trying to get the play away from their quarter line now, as all the New Zealanders are finally back on side after that kick through by Fulton. Smith back inside. Williams to his feet. He's had quite a fair game. Rushton, Cole, again playing in number 15. Here's Williams, who's kicked religiously on the 6th tackle. Dorohey feels this. He's got one man to beat, which he does. Comes up, gets it inside to Boosted, who's pinged off very well by Proctor. Craig Young. Young is in the side as a ball playing forward. He's taking the ball up all right, but he's not unloading. Rodonicus. Price. Not keeping the ball alive at all, the Australian side at the moment. Rod Morris. The Queensland prop. Rodonicus. Fulton. Ready, cut out, goes to Cronin, steps and comes back inside. They wrap him up easily. Last tackle. Away to Fulton. His kick's been charged down. It's over the sideline, so a net loss. I think Fulton was having a few words to say there too. (7-6). New Zealand lead in the third and final match in the KB International Series between Australia and New Zealand. Another Australian scrum win. Rodonicus, Dorohey, quick hands to Cronin, well taken. It's over the top to Rogers. Rogers unloads it quickly to Boosted. He's up the sideline, beat one man. Gets a pass back inside, not in touch. New Zealand have got it back. It's Olsen Filipana. He gets it back inside to Dane O'Hara. That's the first bit of action from the Australian side. Good defence there, and plenty of it. Gary Prum, 10 metres outside his quarter. New Zealand's end of the field. Cole, Smith, Proctor. And who's got it? Australia's got it. Oh, he's called a knock on. The ball was badly astray by New Zealand there, was swooped on by an Australian, and pass given out, the referees called it back. Statistics, Barry.
Scrum 6-3 Australia's way, and the penalties are 7-4 Australia's way.
And there's a clean heel to New Zealand. Sterling can't go anywhere there. He's wrapped up straight away, about 8 metres outside his quarter. I think they'll be pretty happy to go in at half-time with a 1-point lead. Cole, number 15, getting through a lot of work for this New Zealand side. Rushton, the dummy. Craig Young doesn't fall for it. You can hear Gary Cook's voice in the background calling Australia to get back on side. There's Ian Bell there, and a teammate, Dennis Williams, calling out for it, but he couldn't get the pass away. There's a bad pass on the ground. Knock on. At 4 minutes now to half-time, and a rather quiet, small crowd here watching this Australian side go through the motions of not looking all that good. There's the man that's responsible for them. I'm sure he'll have something to say at half-time. There's a penalty. He's got Rushton for loose arm, and there's the picture, of course, him down on the ground, collapsing the scrum. This can put Australia in a 1-point lead. Cronin from about 8 metres outside the quarter line. He's not very far off centre. Again, he'll have the business of having to allow for this breeze from right to left. Probably aim it at the right-hand upright and hit it hard. Let it come back in just a little bit as the pace goes off the trajectory.
New Zealand trainer on looking at Williams's hand as Cronin is lining up his kick near the sideline.
That's successful, so Australia for the first time. Oh no. Have they been in the lead?
Yes, they were leading 4-2.
So they lead now by 8 points to 7. 4 penalty goals to a try and 2 goals. Oh, Dorothy, that ricocheted off his chest and he pulled it back in with a juggling act. Just looked a bit casual about that. Ready, who invariably makes ground in possession. Krilich. Pass away to Fulton and he has to stoop low to take it. Rodonicus. Pearce. Away to Dora. He's wrapped up. That was the selling of the dump. Ready. Rodonicus. Knocked over hard by his opposite number, Ken Sterling. Fulton. Kicking tactically, finds the open spaces. Arkoi will get to this back near the goal line. With about 2 minutes to half time. Australia lead 8 points to 7. Ian Bell. One of the late changes in this Kiwi side. Sterling. Good solid defence there as Australia try to contain New Zealand in their quarter. Desperately want the ball back. Rushton. Cole. Craig Young comes in and shoulder charges him to the ground. Sterling swivels through one tackle just outside the quarter, last tackle. Now watch for number 4, Dennis Williams. There he moves up on the right-hand side. Lindsay Proctor looks at him. And there it goes to him, and up goes the kick. Glover should get underneath this. He's taken it very well, swirling breeze. And brings it back over halfway. That was a good take and a good run. Krilich, Rodonicus. Fulton cuts out a man, straight out to Rogers. Rogers away there to Cronin. Cronin up the sideline. There's the hooter in the background. Australian player's been tripped. The ball bounces well for Sterling. Sterling's lost it. It could be a try to Australia. It's a penalty to Australia. Holding one of the people, well, that was the incident I told you about, an Australian player being tripped or held in the chase for the ball. The New Zealanders aren't happy about that, but there was the incident. Let's see it again on the disc. Now that was the Fulton pass out to Cronin, and a very good one out to Cronin. Now at this point, there was the New Zealand player, I think Lindsay Proctor, pushing one of the Australians to the ground. Now it got a bit hairy here too, and the ball fell free from Sterling, but the referee has ruled penalty to Australia, and Cronin has another fairly simple kick at goal. With a half-time hooter gone in the background, Barry Ross up to date on all the statistics and scorers.
Well, the scrums at this stage are Australia's way, 6-4, and the penalties are 9-4, also Australia's way. 2 players have scored all the points. Australia 8 so far, come from 4 goals from Cronin, and New Zealand 7, a try and 2 goals to Chris Jordan.
Well, we'll await the result of this kick, which can make the score 10 points to 7 if he's successful. It's a terrible kick. It went sideways, really, but it's gone over. And at the half-time break, we've got a scoreline that reads Australia 10, New Zealand 7. And all the points have been scored for Australia by Cronin, and all the points for New Zealand have been scored by Jordan. Extraordinary state of affairs as Frank Stanton, the Australian coach, walks off with John Harvey, one of the replacements, and Greg Oliphant is the other one. There you can see they probably both are going to get runs in the second half. And the referee gets them away for the second half. Gary Cook with a blast on the whistle. Boosted on the right wing. Takes it, gets up on the quarter. That's a good run. Very confident little player, has scored in every representative match he's played this year. Doesn't look like it today, but now Craig Young and Rod Morris, the two props, have got to take some criticism in this match. They're not unloading the ball at all. They're taking the tackle all the time. This Australian side can look quite ordinary if they don't keep the ball alive. Bradonicus out to Pearce. Pearce to Reddy, evades one tackle, gets it back then to Pearce. Pearce makes some ground. He's about 8 metres, 12 metres now from halfway. The breeze slightly favouring Australia in this second half. Up come the New Zealand back line pretty quick. Cronin stood up in the tackle. Very hard man to tackle is Mick Cronin. Last tackle, Krilich away to Reddy. Reddy does the little kick through. It's been taken, a magnificent slip catch type of a catch there by Smith, the 5'8", from the Reddy kick. Good solid tackle from Krilich there on Mark Graham. 10 metres outside Australia's quarter. Rushton, Sterling, Smith, out to Williams. He props and goes back inside. Sterling. Smith turns it back inside to Olsen Filipana, and Price is there with a great tackle right round the ankles. He needs tackling, this Filipana too. Williams with a bomb. It's not a bad one. Oh, Boosted took that magnificently. Only very short in stature, but very long on courage, this little fella. Pearce through one tackle. Max Krilich, the Australian hooker, living in the dummy half spot. Tommy Radonicus changing direction. Got the pass away, but Craig Young was held almost immediately.
What's the blind?
Krilich, Fulton, little chip over the top on that occasion. That's offside. Well, the referee's going to give a penalty, going to give a scrum there, but the New Zealand player touched the ball after it had come off a New Zealand player, and he was in an offside position in my view. However, there's a penalty to New Zealand. That's against Krilich for collapsing the front row of the Australian scrum. Rod Morris was down there too. It's up to the prop forwards to support their hooker, of course. Dennis Williams. Well, that's a good-looking kick. Right back on attack come New Zealand, only 12 metres out now. They've scored the only try of the match from a bomb. And Rushton puts it down on the mark and then points at the Australians and says they were offside, and he was quite right. Sterling picks up that drop pass. About 12 metres away now from the Australian line. Smith. Williams, he's right through. Only about 3 metres now from the Australian line, and he's right underneath the goalpost. Rushton was well taken down near his toes there by Gary Prom, and he's about 8 metres away. New Zealand got their backs right up in the air at the moment. That's a try. Yes, indeed. It was Mark Graham who gave the pass, so we're just looking to see who it was. Dane O'Hara, is it?
Yes.
O'Hara, the scorer. And here's the replay of it, and there's the nice bit of football by Mark Graham to unload the pass one-handed. And the wing three-quarter O'Hara scoring the try. So New Zealand have come back with a vengeance in this game as we watch the head-on shot. Now watch him make some progress there. The little stutter with his feet beat Dorohey comprehensively. Got the pass away. I don't know whether there was a suggestion that that pass looked a fraction forward, but certainly worthy of a try. The Australian defence shot to ribbons. And another team talk going on in the in-goal area there, in which I'd suggest Bob Fulton's having a fair bit to say. Jordan with his kick from the quarter. He's got it. So New Zealand now have moved on to a 12 points to 10 scoreline in 5 minutes of the second half. This has been one of the biggest turn-ups in rugby league this year. The performance of this New Zealand side after so badly being mauled in the previous two tests, 24-2 and 38-7, to come back and lead 12-10, 5 minutes in the second half is some sort of a comeback. Australia in possession. Krilic able to fall on the ball there. Now they've got it all to do. Craig Young, Rod Morris. Who's had a very quiet game today. Krilic, wait a ready trying to steam forward. He does. Unloads a pass to Rodonicus out to Fulton. Way go the backs. Rogers slips as the defence comes to him, trying to change direction. Craig Young unloads it out to Cronin. Cronin can't get through the defence there as Filipana is underneath him. Rodonicus. Pearce. Ready, nicely to Rogers. Rogers through the gap, sprinting hard. Couldn't get the pass away. He does, but it's gone to ground. Australia have fallen on it through Fulton, but it was forward. Rogers heavily tackled there, but he really was in an impossible position to give the pass. He was surrounded by players. $12 points to 10. New Zealand lead. 7 minutes of the second half gone in this KB International Series as the scrum penalty goes against Max Krilic for New Zealand. And the statistics, Barry, up to this point.
Penalties 9-6 Australia's way, and the scrums are 6-4 also Australia's way.
There's a very good-looking kick from Williams, and that's got them back into the Australian half. Koi. Plays it now. Sterling, the crisscross move. Harry Graham coming on the burst again. He's had a useful game. Sterling, Smith, Williams, slip, changes direction, comes back midfield. Still 10 metres out now from the Australian line. Sterling, Rushton, out to Big Lindsay Proctor. His arms are wrapped up, he can't get the pass away. Rushton on the burst to Filipana, who's hard man to tackle. Last tackle now. Will Williams' tactics be the bomb again? Dorohy standing deep underneath the goal. No, they're running the ball on this occasion. It's a switch in play, and Sterling's been put into a gap. Unloads the pass nicely. It's gone to ground, but it's been knocked back. New Zealand have it. Filipana, and the referee says play on, 6 to go. They've still got possession. It's been knocked back, and Cole has it now, only about 20 metres out. There's a penalty to New Zealand. Holding the player on the ground, not allowing him to get to his feet, and that will give Jordan the opportunity in a very simple position to widen the gap. Just looking at that Rod Morris through the glasses, the Queensland prop forward, Barry. I don't know what weight they've got him down for, but he doesn't look all that much bigger than Bob Fulton when they stand beside each other.
No, he's playing a lot wide today, Rex, too. Wouldn't you agree? Wide in defence.
There's the kick from Jordan, and it's a good one. And this is going to be very interesting now, with 14 points to 10, New Zealand leading Australia. It was a clean heel to Australia, but the referee says we'll have it again. Well, Rodonigus has it. Oh, that's a shocking pass. Play on, the referee says. That ball was actually headed that way. As Cronin can't get away from Filipana, and he's a tough man himself, but he couldn't stay up in the tackle. Dorahy, the fullback, trying to make the break close to the ruck there. Rodonigus. Rogers, Reddy's pass out to Glover is a good one. Glover's up the sideline, sprinting hard. Jordan's got him, and in a touch on the halfway line. One of the rare occasions Australian players have evaded the defence. And there was Glover. There's another scrum win to Australia. Rodonigus to Fulton. Oh, there was the dump to Cronin. Williams up very quick. Cronin taken ball and all. Fulton. Rodonigus goes for a sprint. 10 metres now from the halfway line. The referee waving New Zealand back onside. Fulton. Cronin. Tackling of the New Zealand side infinitely better than anything they've shown us in the previous two matches, which makes you wonder why. Reddy, the break, up over halfway. Sprinting, gets it back inside to Fulton. Fulton going hard for the line. Arcoy comes to him. Fulton's there, round on his knees and slid over. Fair try, under the post. Great bake by Reddy. He's still got a bit of pace, the Australian captain. Make no bones about it. Getting into the veteran class, but there's Reddy making the initial break against the run of play. One has to add, Fulton took it very well. It came to him hard and high. He strode out well. Arcoy chased him. Arcoy gets to him. Now watch Fulton go down on the knees and slide over. No suggestion of a double movement. Very professional. There was the break by Reddy from head on. Now this selective pass back inside to his skipper. And Fulton at that point realised the try was on. Now Arcoy comes from the right-hand side, and you'll again see Fulton go down on the knees to obviate the worry of having a double movement sprung on him. So that was professional football, and a very useful try for Australia at that point in time. I think it's true to say against the run of play, Barry.
Certainly against the run of play. It was all New Zealand for the past 5 minutes up this half. Actually, that was more like the Rod Reddy from the second test breaks, where he set up, I think, at least 3 tries.
Well, Cronin now has raised the flags again. That is his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals from 7 attempts.
Yes.
And the one hit the upright.
That's correct.
He's a terrible goal kicker, isn't he?
Yes.
I wish we had him. Just for the benefit of New Zealand viewers, Cronin, repeating, is the leading point scorer in Sydney Rugby League. I don't really know what his total tally is. It's up around 160 odd, 180 odd officially, but he scored in all the interstate and test matches. It'd be well over 200 points.
Yes, he had a very poor season in 1973, Rex, in his country town of Gerringong on the south coast. Scored over 330 points that year.
Yes, that's right. Right, now Australia only leading by the odd point, 15 points to 14, and they've got it to do. Pearce puts Boosted into the clear, and Boosted's going to score. Make no bones about this. The floodgates have opened again. Suddenly, the New Zealand defence just lapsed. There's Boosted, as he's done in every match he's played this year, in the internationals, the interstate, has scored a try. Now let's watch it again. The pass, the run-around move with Rodonigus. Rodonigus made the half break, gets the pass back inside to Pearce. Pearce straight out well for a second rower and beautifully timed his pass to Boosted. And that was a great bit of football. The little fella running like a rocket onto the pass and hit the pass going very fast. Arcoy, to his credit, chased him all the way. Now let's see it from head on, and you'll see the run around with Fulton and Rodonigus. Rodonigus gets halfway through the defence, springs it back inside. He had 2 there. He had Reddy, pardon me, to Pearce, then to Boosted, looking over his shoulder, carrying the ball with the correct arm so that he's got the inside arm free to fend, but it was never called upon. You'll see Arcoy loom in from the right-hand side, or his shadow, and then the little fellow veered away at the last minute. And a fine try to the Australian side. They've now scored 2 tries in the last 2 minutes and have gone away to an 18-14 lead. Cronin now attempting his 8th kick at goal. From out on the sideline. That's successful. Well, bless my soul, that was curving and curving, but still it came back, and Australia have suddenly gone right away. 20 points to 14 now. We'll see whether the New Zealanders can come back again. They were and have been playing pretty good football. That's a penalty to New Zealand. It's against Rodonigus for an incorrect feed, as clearly shown by the referee's signal. Well, the correct tactics are what they're doing. Taking the kick for goal. This fellow's been pretty accurate today. He's kicked 4 goals from 4 attempts. And it would be stupid not to take the opportunity of 2 points. If he's successful, 20 points to 16, and a try and a goal puts them in front again. So it's only 2 tries all. But goal kicking, Cronin's immaculate boot, 7 goals from 8 attempts, has kept Australia well and surely in the picture. This is Jordan. He's kicked it, and that's a good comeback again. They kicked off well from the Australian try, contained Australia down there, got the penalty, and they're back in the game right again. 20 points to 16. New Zealand putting up a stout resistance in this game. Very high quality goal kicking. 5 from 5 and 7 from 8. That's quite remarkable. We've had some incredibly good days in Sydney Rugby League this year, but this is right up with them. Pearce is coming up hard, looking for the ball on the full. Nearly got to it, as New Zealand have it, through Mark Graham. Pearce then was flying up the sideline, trying to get underneath that ball. Ian Bell, he's lost the ball. Play on, they say. Sterling makes a little gain. Head clash there. About 15 metres outside their quarter line. One of the Australian players, Morris, trying to reef the ball out of Yuri Prome's arms. 10 metres from the halfway line. Reddy doing the same in that tackle. They can, of course, steal the ball, as long as the referee hasn't called held in the tackle. Williams has his legs pegged off, but gets to his feet again. That was a Rodonigus tackle. Proctor, long pass out to Arcoy. Got a pass back inside, but it's on the ground. And Australia have it, but the touch judge has got his flag up. Two tries to Australia and 7 goals. 20 points, 2 tries and 5 goals to New Zealand, 16. 22 minutes of this half gone. That's an Australian ball. Fulton tried the dummy run around there with Rodonigus. Retained the ball but got tackled straight away. Price, who's been busy all day but not conspicuous in the open as he normally is. Kulich, Craig Young. Neither of the props, Young or Morris, to my mind, have passed the ball enough in this game. They've died too often with it. That's Morris going to grab. Rodonigus, Fulton, switches it back inside. It's Pearce. Pearce has got it away to Dorahy, and Dorahy's in for a try. And that was a nice set-piece move. That's the one that they put together on the training track. Make no bones about it. Those things don't come off at the spur of the moment. That was one that's been worked out. Now watch it again. Rodonigus to Fulton, switches back selectively inside to Pearce. Pearce makes the initial break through the defence, which had overrun it. And then again, Pearce timing a fine pass to Dorahy. And the fullback goes in adjacent to the posts. And he could have actually gone round. But we'll see it again. Now Rodonigus, from head on, it looks this way. Fulton that switch of that pass, and it was a clever pass too, back into the fleet-footed Pearce, who has done very well when he's got himself into the clear. And Dorohey. Now, 2 direct tries have come from Pearce passes, and you can't do any better than that. And Dorohey could have gone round a yard or 2, but I don't think Cronin will complain about the angle of the kick. It's only about 3 or 4 metres off centre. Here he is. He's absolutely spot on with his kicking today. It's almost with mathematical precision. 25 to 16 after a very slow start by Australia. They're suddenly hitting their straps. 30 points to 16. Well taken by Steve Rogers. Oh, he's got right through. Got it away to Krilich. Krilich's pass has got away to Fulton, and Fulton the last sprinter. And Fulton in for his second try. Good pass from Max Krilich there, and what a great bust by Rogers. And it's just a pity, I feel, that this New Zealand side couldn't have hung on a fraction longer. They were looking good only such a short time ago. There's Lindsay Proctor. Can't hold Rogers. Rogers away to Krilich. Was this pass forward?
I don't think so.
Well, marginal, but very close to it. But there's Fulton still showing that at his veteran status, he can foot it with the best of them. Rogers, that wonderful acceleration he's got. Lindsay Proctor couldn't quite get to him. Krilich did well. Knew he wasn't going anywhere as Jordan came across. Got the pass away to Fulton, and you don't show the open line to Fulton and get away with it. I thought he was going to run up in the MA Naval Stair there for a minute. 2 tries to the captain of the side, Robert Fulton. Have they announced the man of the match yet?
Not as yet.
With 5 minutes to go, only a very small crowd in attendance. They've not put it up. Cronin. He's missed one. Well, there it is, 33 to 16, Australia with... is that clock stopped?
Yes, I think it has now.
All right. Maybe 4 minutes to go. As we look again at this try of Fulton's with the pass from Krilich, floating it back inside. And back to the kickoff. Boosted, who likes to drop deep and support his fullback, which he does very well. I think he's lost the ball though. One of the very rare errors this young man makes. New Zealand. Mark Graham making a good run, and he's given a pass nicely to Cronin, out there to Rogers. Rogers is going to be tackled by a swarm of New Zealanders there. Smith and Filipana both converged on him. Pearce, Fulton, Cronin, unloaded well, bounced off the defence, got it away to Rodonicus, back then to Reddy. Reddy one-handed to Dorahy. They're going backwards, but they're still in possession. 33 points to 16, 6,541 people. The lowest crowd in Test match history. Krilich, Fulton gives it to Reddy. Reddy's pass to Glover was a bad one, but Glover made it look good. He's still going. New Zealanders swarm in on him. And that's the last tackle. Reddy standing over the top of him there. No, not the last tackle, I'm sorry. I thought I saw the referee give that signal. Fulton. Proctor and Fulton. David and Goliath. Fulton stood back and looked at him just to say, what was that all about? Cronin. And he slips the pass. I think it was Pearce who got it. And that's the last tackle. 33 points to 16, Australia. 9 goals from 11 attempts by Cronin. 5 tries to Australia. And 5 goals and 2 tries to New Zealand. Perhaps under 2 minutes to go. Clean heel to Australia. Gary Ross will bring us up to date with all the statistics and scorers in just a few seconds as we approach the last stage of this match.
Well, the scrums have gone pretty well to Australia.
Donegas has got the break up the middle of the field, looking for support. Lobs a long pass, it's gone to New Zealand. Yes, back to Barry Ross.
Yes, Max Krilich has won the scrums quite well for Australia, 10-5 at this stage, and the penalties are also Australia's way, 12-9. Australia's 33 points have come from 2 tries to Bobby Fulton, 1 to Greg Pearce, 1 to John Doré, and 1 as usual to Kerry Boosted. Mick Cranen has kicked 9 goals from 12 attempts. New Zealand 16. Chris Jordan, the fullback, a try, and Dane O'Hara, the winger, tries. And Jordan has kicked 5 goals from 5 attempts.
So there are the vital statistics of the game, with time into the last minute by our clock, with Williams getting that high punt to touch on the member stand side of the Sydney Cricket Ground. Rushton pointing at the opposition, and he's drawn the referee's attention to the fact that Australia were 10 metres inside, or inside the 10 metres, and got another penalty. Williams having a talk with his captain there, Sterling. There's another good kick. Last opportunity for New Zealand to do something in the dying seconds. They won't even have time for 6 tackles if our clock's correct. That's Ian Bell. There's the hooter. And that's the score at full time then, with Australia running out convincing winners, 33 points to 16 in a performance